I am so excited to meet you, Alex Slucki, in this channel,
Thank you.
Expansion of Light. And we're doing this interview in English, as
Mhm.
you just channeled that it should come out in English. So, welcome, Alex. I am so
Yeah.
excited to meet you today.
Thank you, Jildy. It's such an honor to be with you and be able to converse in this platform. And I'm the first one surprised because they've insisted, haven't they, that we should do this in English. We were planning on doing it in Spanish, but you know, sometimes we just have to follow through.
Okay, I will just share how this interview came into being.
Sure.
We were meeting as friends, and you heard the Ascended Masters telling you that there was some information ready to come through.
Mhm.
And I am so ready to receive it. We're doing this on Zoom, just you and we're
Mhm.
going to publish it later.
Great.
And we're so open and ready to receive the information that is willing to come through. But
Mhm.
first, I would like to ask you some questions, Alex.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I'd like to ask you about this ability that you have as a channel. I admire it so much, Alex, and you have helped me so much by
Mm.
giving me information that that I was ready to receive in the several sessions that I have had with you.
Mm.
We have given each other sessions. I have given you astrology sessions, which you are so open and ready, and you handle the information of astrology so well. And you have given me channeled information. And I would like to know, how did this come through and in what stage are you? Because you have channeled archangels, you have
Mhm.
channeled ascended masters, you have
Mhm.
channeled um, people's higher self in sessions, which
Yes.
is so wonderful. There's so much information that in a session wants to come through, and the channeling is so precise, so clear, so transparent, that helps you make clicks immediately.
Mhm.
And it brings liberation, fulfillment, um, any feeling that is ready to come through.
Mm.
So so Alex, how did this come through? What would you like to share about it?
Well, next year is going to be 30 years from the moment that I started experiencing channeling in a more profound and real way. I had this as a child. I could perceive things. They were not under my control, Jildy. They just happened. Sometimes was listening to voices that were a little scary to me. Sometimes I could hear voices having a discussion on both sides of my bed, my little bed. Maybe I might have been 6 or 7. It was a little scary to me. And then I could also see wave patterns of energy. I don't know how to describe it. They didn't have color or shape, but I could see energy moving, and then I could see objects appear and disappear. But these are things that you don't explain to an adult. Maybe out of instinct, there's this projection where you don't explain what's going on. You just see it as part of your existence. But then I did have some discussions with my guardians that I couldn't call angels because they never call themselves that way. The last that I remember before my channel closed for a little while, shut down, was around 12 years old. I was in a summer camp and we were eating watermelon at these picnic tables, in a summer camp. And I was just getting up and almost everybody had left. And I was leaving as well. And I felt something pull me back and say, you have to pick up the garbage. And I said, why me? This is not me creating all this mess. And they said, because if you don't start, nobody will follow. I said, oh, fine. I was all like, okay, this was me talking to them telepathically. So I started picking up the garbage. And then a lot of people saw me do it and they started putting things in order as well. Now it was interesting to me, but that was one of the last things that I remember having a conversation with a non-physical voice at the telepathic level. And then when my father passed away.
Let me just comment about that, Alex.
Yeah.
I feel like it is very representative of what we're doing now, to pick up the garbage. and as your last channeling before you stopped and then retook this this medium of information. Was there anything that you felt it is so difficult to clean up the garbage? Because it was cleaning up the garbage physically, but now we are cleaning up garbage that we have dumped in our unconscious minds for millions of years. And I see the parallel about cleaning up the garbage. And I see my purpose and probably your purpose to clean up the garbage of the unconscious mind in order to feel like an alignment of our channel and cleaning it so that we can embody our higher self, our presence, our greater selves.
Well, it's highly metaphorical turned into reality, isn't it? It's like, I can see that sometimes we forget to do our own work. And I do believe that life, universe, divinity, our own higher self will not allow us to take some steps further if we don't look back and look at the mess we might have created at some past point or some past life. It's like address it so you can integrate it back into the system and reset yourself whenever it is needed.
Exactly. So so maybe we're going to talk about this as channeled information, but please tell me what happened next. How did you retake it?
We have to fast forward almost 12 years after my father died, because when my father passed away, those were the last remnants of my attachment to any form of spiritual system. I was very angry that my father was taken away. By the time I was 9, Jildy, and I don't say this very often, I had already renounced a very specific religious institution. I was not buying even if I was born in a Jewish environment, I was not connecting to the tradition. I just couldn't. I said, I don't buy it. So when I was 9, I always say in Spanish, que bajé la cortina del changarro. It's very slangy, but it's a way to say that I just did away with my beliefs regarding religion. I was not connected to it. And then when my father passed away and all the changes that we endured, because my mother sold our house and then we had to go to an apartment where the dogs were not welcome. So I had also to say goodbye to my 2 beautiful collies. So there was just so many changes going on at once in less than a year. It was very impactful, if not traumatic. And there were truths surfacing, things that have not been addressed in the family. And my father was partly responsible for that. And nothing terrible, but yeah, it kind of reconfigured the way that we viewed what family system means. So there was a lot of pain, and there were a lot of wounds that we had to deal with back then. So I was very angry and started feeling very alone and very misunderstood, because also when you have such an impactful change, you don't connect the same with your peers at school. Like, they're dealing with adolescent troubles, and mine had gone to such depth that whatever they were experiencing as personal problem, it just seemed very shallow to me. So I couldn't identify with my peers either. It was kind of a very complete reset and a whole lot of loss going on. So for me to start my spiritual journey, I started with the arts. That was always my flag, my safe place was the arts. I started writing and I started singing and dancing and acting, and it was very therapeutic for me to do the arts, but I was still with very high, highly sensitive nervous system that I had to deal with. So by 24, I was looking for something that just brought me inner peace, Jolie. Like, what is going to give me the peace that I need? Because I was not feeling peaceful or concentrated at all. I couldn't put my attention in one thing. I couldn't focus. So I found transcendental meditation as offered by a friend who took me to the main school where they taught this here in Mexico. And I met a wonderful, also Ayurvedic doctor who checked my pulse and did this Ayurvedic diagnose to tell me what my metabolism type was. And he said, well, you're eating the wrong things if you want to feel happy and at ease. So he told me, you should do away with this and this and this. So I did immediately, and I almost immediately started to feel the difference in my state of being. I could focus more. I was happier. I was calmer. Started practicing meditation. And I said, this is my boat. So I keep doing the transcendental meditation technique every single day, either once or twice per day, but at least once per day. That's a guarantee. And that helps me always to feel peaceful with myself and start the day and continue the day in a way that is very harmonizing. And I also started doing yoga. So that kind of opened up after 1 year. I took the advanced techniques that are called CDs and yogic flying. That was my first, let's call it real spiritual curriculum, if you will. And that's what brought the presence of angels into my life exactly 1 year after I had started. And they showed up during a meditation as per invitation by a friend. We went to his house to meditate with the angels. I said, well, I don't know if I believe, but let's do it. And they were working with the green ray of Raphael. And after that night, I started getting visitations from the angels, presenting themselves to me and saying, okay, we are here to work with you. And this is part of your mission and contract. And I said, no, that can't be right. I'm here to work with the arts. I had studied literature, theater, singing, getting ready to write plays, direct plays, and said, no, this can't be right. They say, no, you will be talking a lot about angels in the next years. And I said, there's no way that's going to happen. But as you well know and are very aware of, they won. Because 1 year after the initial contact with angels, I did receive a lot of messages, and I was following a diary. To make a long story short, because a lot of things happened in between, but to make it long short, I did receive their messages through a diary that later became my first published book called Prince of Light, or Imprints of Light, Reflections of the Angels on the Art of Being Human. But this is where my journey began, Jildy, and people started asking for consultations. I just shared it with 5 friends, very close friends. And one of them started telling other people what I was doing, and then people started asking for angelic connection. But it really took me 5 years to commit to this. Seriously, I said this because I was always asking, if this is not for me, please, this should not continue, close the channel. And people kept coming, and they kept coming, as you know. This is how I met you. And as I progressed and was entrained by the angels to be able to adapt to more of their high frequency, they started training me many years later to channel archangels and also star beings. That one of them declared himself my double dimensional from Sirius, which is Akshmil, that you also heard about. Yeah. I don't know if it was hundreds of sessions with Akshmil, but it was very, very, very surely I gave at least 100 sessions with Akshmil. Another training. And then Akshmil said another master is coming. And then this is when I started working with the ascended masters, starting with Kutumi. Yes. I had no idea who Kutumi was. I didn't know about the ascended masters at all. Never. They always asked me not to read books, not to do workshops, not to learn from anybody else. It was all going to be vertical training. So that's been my journey. I've always been trained vertically more than horizontally. I did study some techniques for healing and this and that, resonance repatterning and other techniques that I love. But my training has been vertical. It's been direct over the years.
And you have channeled in information to give therapy, to really heal other people. Mm-hmm. And I have done some healings with you. I feel, Alex, that you are one of the clearest channels I know. And I love saying it from my heart, because your channeled information is so loving, so clear, so precise. It makes people feel connected. It makes people feel the connection immediately. And to me, that is real. To me, that is very, very real, Alex. Would you like to start channeling now?
Yes, whenever you want. Yes.
Or is there anything else that you would like to mention before this?
Well, I would just say that, well, this is an invitation to keep an open mind and heart to the beautiful frequencies that are always with us, Jildy, because we have greater and bigger teams than we've ever fathomed. People think that everybody has like one guardian angel, one archangel to their side. And the truth is that we have hosts of light beings around us wanting to support the sometimes very difficult journeys that we're endeavoring down here on Earth, because Earth is not a simple terrain to learn, grow, and overcome or integrate what we call polarity. One of the messages that I received very recently during a Ascended Master session for a small group, now I'm doing small groups, they said, instead of speaking the language of polarity, speak the language of integration or of complementary energies, integrative energies, instead of saying this is good, this is evil or bad, this is white, this is black, this is day, this is night. They're complementary energies. They complement each other. This is like vitamins and minerals, earth and sky. More than seeing it like a polarity, It's they balance each other out. And if we can see that, and if we can change the language a little bit, we can create another vision that is more loving about the planet we're in, instead of trying to choose sides and saying, no, 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 I'm not that. It's about seeing the this and that. This is like a little bit like the fabric I have here in my sweater. It's black, white. It's not black or white. It's like there's these integrations, interweaving, creating a beautiful pattern that is even more sophisticated just because it works together. This is how I see it. So
As
that's
you're
it.
telling me this, Alex, I got the idea of this tapestry
Mm,
that we are living in and we are part of.
mm,
And energetically, it's like the field that surrounds us.
mm.
Okay, and there's no division. It's a unified field
Yes.
that we are part of,
Mm,
and part of this unified field is our DNA, our very DNA, which is resonating now with much subtler vibrations,
mhm,
connecting with this unified field.
mm.
Because as our DNA was reduced into only two chains or two DNA fibers,
Strands.
active strands of DNA active,
Mm,
then we were more able to live in this density
mhm,
where the field as a tapestry is very dense. But
mhm,
as we are connecting with higher dimensions and
mhm,
um, higher strands of DNA, we are connecting with those subtler aspects in the field, which is unified.
mhm.
There is no more polarity. And maybe that's one of the main aspects that we are transcending as humans,
Mm,
so that we can give this jump into the fifth dimension,
mm.
into the more ascended stage as human beings.
Yes, and what I would add to that is, because I was getting images in my mind, I was seeing the process in alchemy. In alchemy, you get cycles upon cycles of, for example, that apparent polarity. You have the androgynous being. There's even some sketches done, maybe 150 or 200 years old, where you see a man and a woman that are in the same body. They're sharing that one same body. It's the androgynous soul. And then it is separated through an act of alchemy, and then they become apart. And then they have to undergo what is called putrefactio, where everything seems that it's putrefying. Everything's turning to putrid material and turns all black. And I don't remember what you call the vase where all this happens, el matraz, in Spanish, but it's like the vessel where everything starts to become black, you know, and it's almost like a
That
death.
seems like Matrix.
Uh-huh.
Does it have any connection?
Well, the matrix would be the place, I guess, of not being conscious of all that is dying away for it to be reborn again after a purifying process. I think that we're undergoing what is called now albedo, is putrefactio, albedo, rubedo. So these are three stages of alchemy. In putrefactio stage, everything is putrefying. everything's collapsing. It sounds very much like what we're experiencing here in the Matrix, or Matras, maybe, yeah. And from that, you get a beautiful, what is called the rainbow tail, where colors start to appear from between the blackness, and then it turns into white, and then it turns into red. And that white and red is the flourishing of the alchemic queen associated to the moon, and the alchemic king associated to the sun. And they have their own alchemy elements, and they create what is called the philosopher's stone, which is the baby of this love between queen and king, which is the integration of our own yin yang, or our own feminine masculine. Right now, as you see, the feminine is surfacing with its beautiful purity, celestialness, light, gentleness, and sensitivity. But then also the masculine is going to reflourish from a place of joy and harmony and balance. And then they come together to create the alchemic sun, which is the philosopher's stone. And you can see the pictures. They're very sensuous and they're very beautiful, how they come together. They're making love, which is making love inside ourselves as well, between our feminine and masculine. So we can once again become the awareness that lives inside us, but we were not very conscious of it until this whole process was completed. And I think that this is what's happening now.
This reminds me, Alex, of our last conversation where we were talking about, once we remember the origin, is where the original source energy decided to contemplate itself and to find, who am I? And the expression that came out as it observed itself started with the masculine and feminine energies from the very beginning, not as gender or sex, but as quality of energies. Yeah. And we were talking about, as we remember how everything came to be as source energy, we remember that we are source energy, expressing in the density in this dimension. And as we remember that, then we go back to that unifying sense of self, where there is no separation, where the tapestry that we were talking about becomes oneness.
Yes.
And I feel that this information, the rising of the feminine and the rising of the divine masculine, returns us precisely to source and to connect with our heart.
Yes.
Where source is vibrating all the time. So I feel that this information is what is wanting to come out.
Yes.
And I feel we are ready
to
start
ready
with the channeling.
Yes.
Ready?
Sure. So just consider the questions you wish to ask.
Okay.
Probably on your behalf or on behalf of your community, or just bringing everyone to share this energy and this space. And I'm going to concentrate for a second. I'm feeling already a little hot, so I'm going to take off this sweater.
Okay.
Because when they make themselves present, I also feel change in the energy. It's too hot for me now. So, all right. I'm going to concentrate for a second. And let's see what unfolds.
You tell me when you're ready.
I'm being told that I'm being trained to do this much faster now. So,
Okay.
all right, give me a second. We wish to welcome everyone to the sacred space of the heart, the sacred space of being, the journey of humanness in its condition and its process of ascension, expansion, evolution, the process of being aware of oneself, so one can become also more sentient and empathic to everything and everyone that surrounds him, her, everyone, in the awareness of opening the eyes of our heart that will allow for this conversation to expand further and deeper to levels of knowledge, to levels of ecstasy and levels of awareness that were not there before. And thus, the questions that you will present to us as a collective and the sharing of this information is but a celebration and joy to whomever may be open to listening in the here and the now. So we are ready. Yes.
Thank you so much for coming through, Alex. I would like to know who you're channeling now, Alex.
Let us present ourselves as a collective,
Okay.
but if a name be needed, and hopefully will not present itself as a distraction, we would present ourselves as Kutumi, El Moria, and Serapis Bay.
Thank you so much for coming through. I would like to ask you open questions because I feel that there is some information that is ready to come through. I wouldn't like to limit it. So please be free to speak to us about whatever energy we are ready to hear for our ascension process.
It will be a pleasure to speak about what is present in the vibration and energy that you are projecting from your heart and your consciousness onto the world around you, but also listening to the voices that will not be present but are asking similar questions or have similar interests. And one of the things we'd like to talk about is seeing Earth once more as a real sanctuary. Many people on your planet are seeing Earth as merely a school for growth and a difficult school at that. What this means is that they're already prepared in their unconscious and their conscious minds to see this as a challenge. Some will see it as a boot camp. Some will see Earth as a matrix, as has been mentioned in this very conversation. Some will see this even as a prison. You are imprisoned on Earth. And what we would love to share with you today is the fact that Earth, first and foremost, is a planet. That's what it is. It's a planet. It's orbiting around your beautiful sun. It's dancing and rotating and trespassing physical and non-physical energy barriers in its process of personal evolution and allowing other sentient beings to undergo a journey of personal transformation, but also collective, in this, what could be called a scenario where everyone chooses how things should be viewed, understood, experienced, and transformed, both inside and outside. Now, if you have a collective that is viewing the Earth as a very difficult experience, this is what you'll get. You'll get difficulty, you'll get challenges, one after another after another. is like running through the maze, and you think that you'll find the Minotaur inside the maze, something that is menacing right at the center. And many people who view the earth as impossible maze, which is one of the archetypes that was created thousands of years ago, an impossible maze with a beastly creature in its very insides, and one must escape the maze in some way, and you need wings for that, but there's also a risk when you are too close to the sun. All these stories, and you might find repetitions of this story and the consequences of such stories over and over and over. That means you are not supposed to overcome the idea that these challenges can be and shall be overcome. You cannot go beyond a certain frame of mind or a certain state of coherence and consciousness that will allow you to see this very, very differently. What if, and this what if is what creates worlds, you could see the earth as a sanctuary. You could see this merely as a planet. You could see this as a frequency / opportunity, not only for growth, but for expansion, for delight, for celebration, for creation. For indeed, the earth, if you think about it, is a place where there are so many such versatile resources. Earth continues to reinvent itself. You continue to find new materials to create new realities. You're working with silicon now, and you used to work with plastic, and now you don't like plastic as much because there's been an overload of plastic in the planet, but now you have the silicon and then, or siliceo, and then you'll find light sources to work with, the energy of wind, the energy of fire, the energy of thunder and lightning, the energy of ether. Whatever energy you find, you can work with to investigate reality further and create something new in the sanctuary. But the challenge now in the collective consciousness is to be able to bring forth the creation of new possibilities without affecting what is the ecosystem in general and the totality of Earth as scenario for growth. And this is a challenge in your minds. The less you see it as survival boot camp, the less you see it as a menacing place to be, the more you can focus your mind on the creative source of reality, the creativity that is available inside you in combination to what is around you. And then you can start pushing forward reality in a way that is very harmonious with the environment, but also with your own self, because you need to be in harmony with yourself so you can create harmony around you. Is this understood?
Yes, yes, totally. And as an astrologer, I am very conscious of the possibilities that you mentioned, the infinite possibilities that are ready to come through for humanity. As Neptune is at 0 degrees of Aries, and I feel I can speak astrology with you because
Yes.
I think that symbolically you're connecting with this energy, and I feel that is what is wanting to come through. Neptune is spirituality in its higher sense, and it is also confusion in its lower energy. So I feel that the message that you gave us was you are ready to have a new perception of reality, and you can create whatever you are perceiving, whether you are perceiving density or higher realms of spirituality and energy. And there are infinite possibilities ready to manifest in the following 2-3 years. So, as an astrologer, it is difficult to predict. As ascended masters, you might also see possibilities and probabilities instead of facts. But I feel that 3i Atlas, what what seemed to be like a comet at first, is bringing us some of these high possibilities if we can open enough to receive them. Can you talk something about that?
Well, yes, dear, you're asking us to impact quite a bit of information, so we'll go in order to speak a little bit about the combination between, you mentioned Neptune, yes, in
Yes,
0 degrees of Aries,
right.
the metaphorically of the fire of your dreams,
Yes,
igniting the spark of what you dream. This is the opportunity to dream yet again. And this is what humanity is doing now. They're dreaming a new dream. Now, as you know, dreams can get very confusing because you can play many, many roles within your own dream. You can be witness or experiencer of the same uh, scene within the dream. You can change uh, the dream very quickly from one image to another. You can change roles within the dream or exchange or interchange roles. First, you're the mother, and then you could be the daughter, or you could be woman or man. You will still feel like your personality is experiencing and interpreting whatever it is facing within that dream sequence. However, the humanity is right now, with help of these combinations and these alchemies within the power of what you call astrology, what it's telling you is you are entitled to your dreams. You can give direction and will to your dreams. Will a dream that will be upon reality that is of higher ground. And this is important. Bring the best of Pisces, bring the best of Neptune, bring the best of spirituality into the fiery Aries, which is we're starting over, we're dreaming once again. Let's give this dream the flow it needs in the direction of something that will expand us all universally, but also more gently, more compassionately, more expansively. For you can give energy to a dream, and you can also set in motion spirituality within that dream in a way that is exciting, that ignites the fire of spirit within you, and that will also feel very joyous to your hearts, because Aries is supposed to be also an energy of joy. We're just birthing something new, and that should be exciting. Now, speaking of the very complex issue of 3i Atlas, one of the things that 3i Atlas is wanting to convey to you as a collective is the unfathomable. The unfathomable. One of the things that is happening, of course, and this is no laughing matter, but it brings a smile to our hearts and to our faces, is the fact that people on earth want to rationalize everything as quickly as they can. We have to know what that is. Is it an object? Is it man-made? Is it alien-made? Is it biological? Is it mechanical? Is it light? Is it consciousness? What is it bringing? What time will it get here? What will it do once it gets here? So, because you have what is called the amygdala, which is always very, very aware of changes in the environment, and then it sets a little bit of what is called the alarm in your system, sometimes with fear and sometimes just being very aware of what is going on. 3i Atlas being an unfathomable presence that was unexpected, only very recently has it made an apparition in your system, yes?
Right.
What if it had always been there? It's not like the Halley comet, like, oh, okay, 75 years and now it's back in orbit. Now we can see it again. Something to be expected. People in the past didn't know what a Halley comet was. And so same reactions. What is it? Why is it here? When will it arrive? What will it do? What it will do to us? Is this the beginning? Is this the end? So there's a lot of need to read into the energy of the Atlas, which does not wish to be read as clearly as you deem, because it brings the energy of the unfathomable. What this means is that this object, this presence, which we cannot describe yet because it brings with it a lot of energies that have not been able to be described clearly because of its velocity, because of its reactions to how it is being viewed, is a little similar to the presence of, do you remember the appearance of or the presence of what is called quantum physics, quantum mechanics, and the challenges that scientists faced when they could not explain the behavior of the particle world when it manifested? They couldn't explain what they were seeing. It was very difficult because rules changed. Even through observation, there was a change in the rules of quantum mechanics. So this is a quantum leap and this is a quantum presence, and it brings quantum realities with it, which means that your consciousness needs to shift for you to be able to capture the changes that are upon you by the mere presence of this unfathomable reality that is almost, to some, would be like an intruder into your system, something completely way over there, as you would call it in Earth, way over there, so different from what you know. Forget about IA, artificial intelligence, yes? Forget about AI in English. This is beyond anything you can imagine. And it brings with it a frequency, an opportunity, and a vibration, an energy, and a consciousness that is very unlike anything that you've experienced on Earth. So be not too quick to judge and pinpoint what this is supposed to be, or to overinterpret through any of your disciplines what this is bringing. The unfathomable is calling for receptivity and openness of mind and heart, so you can expand in ways that you will not be able to explain easily. Yes?
Oh, yes.
That's the invitation.
Wow. I love your answer. Um, people have tried to explain with our knowledge, our higher knowledge, our quantum physics knowledge, and you're telling us that it's beyond that, and that we need an open mind to perceive the unfathomable quality of what will bring, of what 3i Atlas will bring. Also, what you're saying about what if it was always there and we just started to perceive it? What if we have reached a level of maturity, as I might say, as humans, a level of development as humans, with all this change of energy, of era, of entering to the Aquarius era. And after the precession of the equinoxes, all the energy here on Earth started to prepare our consciousness to receive this unfathomable quality of evolution that I perceive that is coming through. And as you are saying, as what I perceive you're saying, so I can relate this with Neptune as the dream that you're saying, and Saturn entering together with Neptune at 0 degrees Aries. Saturn, the concrete, structured energy of bringing those dreams into reality. And these energies together haven't come together in Earth maybe 5,000 or 8,000 years ago. And this reminds us precisely of the precession of the equinoxes and the new era that is coming, and 3i Atlas coming as something unfathomable, of some energy that is ready to bring this ascension energy into fruition.
We would love to play with one single concept and word that will give you a great idea and clarity of what the Atlas might be doing. Not to pinpoint it, but to allow it. But if you think of the word ripple, along with rip, along with RIP, what does this mean? There's a rip that Atlas is creating in your system. It's a rip in the fabric of time and space that is rippling out to the entire system, and thus to what goes beyond the system. It could be the entire galaxy or the entire universe, because everything's interconnected. So this rip in the fabric of time and space that does away with what has been established as logic and structure in your perception of reality is rippling out in such way that many things will feel precisely in the time where many of you are celebrating what is called Day of the Dead and Halloween and these different celebrations during the autumn season in the northern hemisphere of your beautiful home called Earth or sanctuary. It's RIP, the rest in peace. What are we going to rest in peace? Some notions of reality, some concepts that have outstretched and outlived what is their duration, natural duration, for too long. This is like listening to the echo of a reality that no longer serves you, but keeps playing in the background, like that old record where the needle is jumping once again and again, same old tune, what is called same old, and it's trying to continue playing through when what is needed now is a change of record, a change of tune. The dying away of the old that is already dead and gone, except where it's playing out in your minds, in your perceptions. So this makes it very clear, this intervention of the Atlas is making it very clear that you can no longer sustain physically, emotionally, sentimentally in your communication, in your mind, in your vibration, frequency, or energy. It's no longer sustainable. This old reality, these old patterns, these old ghosts, they need to go away because the new is already here. And it's been happening for a while, but it's just not seen or recognized. You have not, as a collective, actualize yourselves, you continue to actualize your computers and update it and upgrade it, etc. But what about you? What about the update and upgrade of your own system? It's not about being in tune just with technological advances, as many of the tribal collectives are giving too much attention to the advancements of technology and understanding them as this is our evolution. Having artificial intelligence, robotics, nanotechnology, biology advances, that is the evolution. This is how we express our collective evolution. And the answer is yes and no. This is just such a small portion of what is really going on. Because how does the interaction with these advanced technologies that are very practical and very materialistic and very obvious, how do you combine or how do you intertwine the fact that, yes, you're advancing technologically, but what about in your own physical systems, your vibration, your frequency, your consciousness, your perception of reality? That is also technology, spiritual technology, if you will. How do you explain the other advancements that are a little more discreet? How do you explain the advancements in personal creativity, personal perception, personal interaction? How do you explain the advancements in your relationships and your desires and your knowledge, the expansion of your mind to investigate reality further in ways that you've never thought before? And that is happening every single day. Either you come up with a new concept or a new idea, a new word, a new project, a new relationship. That is also advancement. So this is going to make it more evident. It should have been called Socrates instead of Atlas. You know, the more I think I know, the less I know, or the only thing I think I know leads me to know that I know very little and that I want to know more. So Socrates would be a better name for this particular presence and intervention in your system, because it's about a huge, gigantic sun level and shape and size question mark. A question mark the size of the big sun. Maybe Alcyon's sun. That's the level of the question mark. That's how big the question is. So instead of trying to just land the answers, it's about landing new questions. So reality expands beyond anything and everything that you've experienced up until now. Yes?
Wow. Wow. So there are many questions that I want to ask you related to that and
Yes.
comments about it. What this comment tells me is that probably we're probably going to name it Socrates, as the collective consciousness finds out about these numerous questions, infinite questions that we might ask ourselves to point into new directions. And mainly, I feel these new directions point to our heart, to our essence, not so much to technology, which we are little by little or not little by little, a lot by a lot, integrating with artificial intelligence. What I feel that this comment that you told us about a Kriya Atlas, excuse me, is pointing to is it's okay to develop artificial intelligence and technology, but remember Atlantis and Lemuria. Yes. Remember to connect the mind with the heart. If it's too technologically oriented, then we will enter a paradigm that we have failed as humanity, but that we have a chance to correct or to center again, to integrate in a new way, but with a connection with our heart. I will not say but, and to the connection with our heart. What you were saying about that we must see that a lot of the old energy is dead. That is Pluto related with Neptune and Saturn. And then Uranus is also related to these other planets, telling us about the originality, the liberty, the quantum jumps, the technology even, but also the connection to our essence. I feel that these three energies, these four energies, are connecting us to our real essence and to the opportunity to bring our higher selves into the embodiment as a new human, as the light body that we are embodying as a new human. I feel that that you can elaborate into that.
Yes, let us address the issue of Atlantis and Lemuria. I'm sure you'll find, we are sure you will find so much information now available through other channels who specialize and love to in these matters, these subjects. There are channels who are specializing in retrieving the information for those fantastic and terrible civilizations, because there's always that polarity, isn't there? Otherwise, they would not collapse. For some reason, it is thought and idealized, seeing from a distance, that this and that happened, and that we need to simply remember either a huge splash slash destruction of Atlantis because this and this and this happened, or the disappearance of Lemuria because there was an imbalance in the ecosystem and the vibration was also done away with. However, perhaps with a simple analogy, we might understand how this is working in your time. We are sure that when you have maybe had a little accident, maybe you fell down and then you cut a part of your body, the question would be, do you focus on the wound every day, and do you think about the wound, and do you wonder if the wound will ever heal? And are you afraid of crossing, in the same area where you fell due to the first wound that you had? We are almost sure that you learn from what is called your mistakes or your lack of awareness at the moment that led you to maybe fall down and hurt yourself. Let's say in the knee. Let's say your wound was in the knee. Many children are running so fast that they fall and they hurt themselves. Yes? So how many times do we need to think about the wound and think that we need to do something to the wound for it to heal? Or do we trust our body is so divinely integrated and so smart, so wise, that we allow for the wound to heal itself, and we allow for it to be repaired naturally because it already holds the space for that to happen over the course of a small or short time. You understand what we mean?
Yes.
There might be a scar to remind you of that wound, but you're not just looking at the knee and going, okay, when I was 5, I hurt myself while I was crossing this bridge because I crossed it too quickly. And I'm so afraid to cross the bridge again because I might fall again and I might hurt myself exactly at the same place where I was hurt. And so the wound never disappears. And we believe that the issue of Atlantis and Lemuria is being treated thus. We understand that the collapse of a civilization is much greater trauma than just falling down and hurting your knee. But in the end, do we trust that the wound will be healed organically, naturally, as flowing of folding of our own consciousness? Do we believe there's a system in place that can heal wounds? Or do we believe that this is endless karma that we need to overcome rationally by doing certain things that will actually heal that wound? Understand what we mean? So,
Oh,
yes, the concept of karma has sometimes been exaggerated to the point that many of the souls in this planet hold a consciousness in place that is very, very old. It's like a ghost that speaks of an earlier stage of evolution. And this would be like the child in you being afraid it will fall again on the bridge just because it happened once, and as if you had not learned much at that time, which is just walk slower or just be aware of where you're stepping so you don't hurt yourself again. But it's curious how in this planet, wounds are held in place as a means to try and remember not to commit the same mistake. But what if, this is a great what if we accepted the mistakes that we've made? What if we came to terms and healed ourselves almost instantly by accepting, okay, this is another time in civilization where the awareness was not as expanded as it is now, where the density of reality was far greater than it is now. Because if there's a collapse, that means that was a time of great density going on, or the need to reset and recycle. A lot of people are afraid of repeating the Lemuria Atlantis. Some call it experiment, and some call it experience, and some call it memory. But you're in another place now. And if there's a ghost called Atlantis and Lemuria, and it's being awakened in the souls at this particular time of evolution, it may be just to clarify that there has been an expansion going on and that there is maturity available, just to say, I'm not walking the same path and I'm going to choose otherwise or differently this time because there's an opportunity going on. So if you treat the wound as something that you have to take care of, but know not what it requires to be taken care of. How do I heal this wound? If it happened 12,000 years ago, or if it happened 6,000 years ago, how do I heal this wound? Well, just by coming to terms with it and saying, this wound is part of my history. Yes, it happened when I was younger or at an earlier stage. Now I'm at the stage. Maybe there's a mark or a scar where the wound was, but certainly some skin has grown over it since then. Understand?
mm-hmm.
So the less attention we place on past wounds as if they were still open and as if they were still hurting and as if they were still claiming some kind of space that has not been acknowledged or resolved at this point. Well, we're at another time. This is another space. This is another opportunity. Same with past lives. So what do I do and who am I in relationship to the here and now? And how can I see that the wound maybe has already been healed and I just need to acknowledge that? so I can move forward. Those who do that see the wound and they go like, okay, I can smile now because this is part of my maturing process. We'll move forward. And those who stay stuck in their minds with, oh, there's an open wound, it hasn't been healed, and there's so much karma here, and I did it wrong last time, and I'm so afraid of repeating the wrongfulness that was manifested back then. Why not see the wound with love, compassion, and with skin? It has been repaired, hasn't it? So we need to ask ourselves, is this wound open, or has it healed over time and not feared so much? And if it's coming to the surface, is for more acknowledgement. Maybe there's more need for acknowledgement and less need for healing at this point.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes, I understand. And it's really releasing to hear that. It's just our own viewpoint which creates a reality. Okay, so if we allow ourselves to flow in this new energy that is already here, that that is ready to enter into new systems, new paradigms, new patterns of energy, and connecting with not only the mind and the masculine energy, which was very like with intention and counter intention, and the polarity that we mentioned before, and enter into the divine flow of masculine and feminine energy as a tapestry, knowing that divine wisdom is already here, not only in the body, but mostly as a source energy that we are, a source living energy that we are here on earth through our bodies, and allowing that energy not only to heal, because assuming that it is already healed, then being open and allowing to manifest the infinite new possibilities and dreams that we can have as humanity.
That was a beautiful and seamless description of your understanding of this conversation.
So thank you so much. I think I feel and think that it has opened spaces in our hearts to see the world differently, to see the three-eye atlas differently, to be open to the new energies, and to feel the creative energies within and allow them to express themselves and to create this new paradigm, this new earth, this new human being, this new embodiment of our higher selves as the light beings that we really are.
Yes, and so it is. So here on earth, you like what to call it, to sum it up.
Yes.
This conversation, to sum it up, we're speaking of seeing earth not as a school. It might be too many, but we like to reframe and reorganize our perception of reality so we can birth new possibilities of how this is viewed, and it transform itself into that precisely. So in this regard, seeing earth as a sanctuary and as a home, how do you want to treat your home? And how grateful can you be to a sanctuary that welcomes you into a state of peace and expansion, enlightenment that is available to you by simply being in interconnectedness to that which surrounds you and is inside you. What if, once again, and what if Atlas/Socrates brings more questions than answers, that prompts not the idealization of what could be based on the rationality of what has been assumed in relationship to the Atlas. Even if you can explain it away, who wants to explain away something that is so new and different? Why would we want to explain it away rationally? And once again, dissolve the magic and the mystery of the universe. Because this is universe saying there's still so much magic and mystery to be experienced here and discovered. So allow yourself to be discovered by the Atlas Socrates in personal relationship with it according to that which you want as a question and not as an answer. This will prompt many questions. It will prompt more questions than answers. And those who are willing to question reality will reach farther in the universe and will travel lighter in this space and time than they ever thought possible, because the questions are the ones that lead to further creation and further involvement with evolution, as opposed to trying to use the Atlas as a means, like a butterfly. Who would want to put and there were many who would put a pin on a butterfly, to pin a butterfly to the wall, analyze it, draw it, but it's lifeless now. So do we want Atlas to be a lifeless experience, or just full of questions and thus full of life?
Wow.
Yes.
I love your explanation and your mention of the word butterfly and questions. Like 3i Atlas, as physicists say, will be coming closer to the sun by the end of October and November, and closest to the earth by the solstice in December. And as you mentioned the butterfly, what the idea that I felt was 3i Atlas is not just for this time. It is reminding us of our questions as butterflies, that we are ready to come out of the, how do you say, capullo?
The cocoon.
Of the cocoon.
Yes.
As butterflies. And then after the 3i Atlas reminds us of everything that we need to remember. And it is remembering, not learning. I feel it's remembering, reconnecting.
Yes.
Then the butterfly within will be able to be allowed to fly, not to decide to fly with our rational minds, but to be allowed to fly with the full knowingness that, as you had mentioned, we have in our bodies, in our earth, in our living energy field, that we live in oneness with.
Yes, that is quite beautiful and well put. So, my dear, we're going to bring the channel back now.
Thank you so much
for this initial conversation. And there was great interaction, because through your questions, we can bring us to the edge of what is possible all together, and so it is. So
Thank you so
thank you.
much for this channeling. And I hope to see you soon and to have more information to come through Alex and through whatever wants to come through you for Earth.
Thank you. It's always a delight to always be here, for we are never set apart. We are always in the oneness and the recognition of that oneness beyond space and time. So the moment you think of us as one we are, and one we remain. So
thank you from my heart and from the heart of the viewers to you. Thank you so much.
thank you, our dear. So it is.
And so it is.
Oh. Um, I'm here.
Alex, do you
Oh,
remember the information that you brought through?
at the moment, yes, it's very present in my mind, but as time goes by, probably I'll forget much of what was said unless I go over the conversation and hear it again. And I'll go like, oh, right, yeah. The moment I hear it, I am reminded of it, but then if I don't hear it, it will probably stay out of my consciousness. But it was very, very nice, actually. How do
I
you
just
feel?
want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for
Mm,
developing these abilities
mm,
and for bringing through this information, Alex. As an astrologer,
mm,
I can see the energies and the aspects and the relationships of the planets. And there are so many possibilities open in these relationships that the planets speak of, because they're
mm,
speaking, they're talking, they're interacting
mm.
outside and within, because as it is inside, it is outside, and vice versa.
Uh,
And I feel that the information that you brought through gives meaning, gives
mm,
a lot of meaning to these aspects, and also gives points to anchor in our reality
mm,
by having the viewpoint, the very high vibrational viewpoint that you brought through. So, as we were saying, Neptune, for example, in a high vibration is the highest spiritual possibilities that
oh,
can come through. But as denser possibilities, it is confusion.
mm,
So by listening to this channel, many of the dense possibilities, I think, dissipated,
oh,
and we gave an open heart and an open mind to those higher possibilities that the earth will anchor in this moment and in the eternal moment, in the future moments that are coming. So there is no time, there is only the now, and
mm.
these possibilities, these higher possibilities were anchored now. And I am so thankful for this.
Well, thank you, Jildy. I really enjoyed this conversation, and hopefully, I'll be able to keep some of that information that was shared. Otherwise, I'll have to look for a summary, but something stays inside in the end at some level, but it was very heartening, but also I love the fact that the way I can recognize that this is not my personal discourse is when I hear information that I could never personally have come up with.
Yes. And there
Honestly.
was new information coming. I haven't heard this information about the three eye atlas
Uh-huh.
before, and I have heard a lot of videos
Uh-huh.
and channelings about three eye atlas, and this was new. And this gave us many new possibilities and questions,
Mm.
and I feel gave us even connections
Mm.
in our DNA that we can allow to happen through us.
It will be very interesting. I do see when they're talking, I do see some images, a few, I could see like as if I was watching a movie
Yes.
along with the words that come through. And probably this is how I'll be able to retrieve or remember a little bit like a dream, precisely. I heard that you were talking about dreams or they talked about dreams. So it's a little bit like a dream.
Wow.
They
Wow.
bring me back. They said, we're going to train you to go in and out quicker of the channeling mode because sometimes you've been there before. Sometimes it took me 3, 4 to 5 minutes to open my eyes like I couldn't open my eyes before that. But it was easier now.
And speaking of astrology and your astrology, and you speaking about Neptune, your astrology chart, you have Neptune with Jupiter and Mars in Sagittarius.
Okay.
So this is the possibility of channeling as you do and dreaming as
Oh.
and the artistic development that you've had.
Hmm.
I thank you so much, Alex, and I would like to end here
Mhm.
to stay with this feeling and to stay
Hmm.
with these questions and this information, and to be open for more
Sure.
that may come through each of us that is hearing this. And I hope that this video goes to many, many people. Please sign up, please share. This information needs to come through to bring the quantum jumps that we are ready to go through in this end of 2025 and the years beyond.
Very curious about what is to unfold for humanity, as always. Let's see.
Yes, let's keep dreaming and let's keep questioning and let's keep being open to
Mm,
those infinite possibilities and quantum jumps that we are ready to have.
for sure. For sure, Julie.
Thank you so much, Alex, for doing this, for being here as a
Mm,
channel, for bringing this information through, and for whatever is coming next.
sure, sure. Well, I'm here to
Okay,
serve, as you know.
pardon me?
I'm here to serve.
Oh, thank you. I know that. And I think we are united in that,
Mm,
Alex.
mm,
And I love that we are discovering new ways to be in service
mm.
together.
Sure, my dear.
Okay, so blessings to you,
Thank you.
blessings to the ascended masters, to the archangels,
Mm,
and to all the people who are having this information and who are sharing it also. Blessings to all.
Blessings to everyone. Thank you, Julie.
Bye bye.
Bye.